Perhaps the most memorable benefit of the program has been the opportunity to meet in small groups, something that is difficult to arrange such a desperate organization. Many officers would have to work together for 30 years but would not know others' strength and weakness. Reserve requirements are the proportions of the deposits that banks must keep on hand and are not allowed to lend out. For example, if the reserve requirement is $10 and you deposit in a $100 banknote, the bank can only lend $90 of that $100 to someone else. But it is not allowed to lend the remaining $10. Fuel serves as a major part of our energy requirement. Petroleum, a major fuel, is widely used in our everyday lives and also used to power automobiles, produce containers and to keep us warm. All plastic is made from it and used in cars, houses, computers, paraffin wax, paints and pharmaceuticals. Social media are playing an increasingly important role as information sources for travelers. The goal of this study is to investigate the extent to which social media appear in search engine results in the context of travel-related searches. It also provides evidence for challenges faced by traditional providers of travel-related information. Global water consumption has increased almost fourfold in the past 100 years, and many regions can only meet their water demand thanks to essential contributions from mountain regions. In 30 years, almost a quarter of the world's lowland population will strongly depend on runoff from the mountains. Yet it is precisely in observing the intertwining of success and failure that Chasing the Flame makes its greatest mark. With piercing insight and relentless logic, it reveals the pitfalls of international politics and details an intricate struggle between individual and institution. The global collapse of frogs and other amphibians due to the amphibian chytrid fungus exacerbated malaria outbreaks in Costa Rica and Panama during the 1990s and 2000s, according to new research. The findings provide the first evidence that amphibian population declines have directly affected human health. Participating regularly in physical activity has been shown to benefit an individual's health and well-being. Regular physical activity is important in reducing the risk of chronic diseases, such as heart disease and stroke, obesity, diabetes and some forms of cancer. The National Physical Activity Guidelines for Adults recommends at least 30 minutes of moderate-intensity physical activity, preferably every day of the week, to obtain health benefits. The disease model remains dominant in the U.S. because of its stakeholders. First, the rehab industry, worth an estimated $35 billion per year, uses the disease nomenclature in a vast majority of its ads and slogans. Despite consistently lower success rates, that's not likely to stop because it pulls in the cash. Early in the 19th century, Wordsworth opposed the coming of the steam train to the Lake District, saying it would destroy its natural character. Meanwhile, Blade denounced the dark satanic smells of the Industrial Revolution. The conservation of the natural environment, however, did not become a major theme in politics until quite recently. Was burial of the dead practiced by Neanderthals, or is it an innovation specific to our species? Researchers have demonstrated, using a variety of criteria, that the Neanderthal child was buried, probably around 41,000 years ago. In 2016, the world's largest ever data leak, dubbed the Panama Papers, exposed the scandal, uncovering a vast global network of people, including celebrities and world leaders, who used offshore tax havens, anonymous transactions through intermediaries and shell corporations to hide their wealth, grow their fortunes and avoid taxes. London's National Portrait Gallery is currently celebrating the 50-year career of photographer Sandra Lounsada. The 21 portraits on display depict key figures in literature, film, and fashion from the early 1960s. Subsequent to the acquisition of 40 portraits by Lounsada, the display at the National Portrait Gallery highlights shots were taken between 1960 and 1964. The sad truth is that happy sounds are infectious. Now comes research that at least partly explains why. It was published this week in the Journal of Neuroscience. The British research team played various sounds, including laughter, to people who are having their brains scanned by a functional MRI machine. The definition of a disaster varies by organization. Various entities have different pain thresholds that define when an incident becomes a disaster. The bank, for example, will have different criteria than a poison control hotline. With this fact in mind, any organization should begin the process of implementing first alert and response teams after it has completed a business impact analysis. traditional divisions of domestic work are understood to persist because of the strong association of the home with humanity and pay work with masculinity. To challenge who does what in the home is arguably tantamount to challenge what it is to be a woman or a man. At the end of this year, we will launch the Cup class boats. So these will be about twice the power. The sailors are down in cockpits, unlike today. A lot of the power is being generated by these grinders that are providing hydraulic power, and that energy is being used to control the flying surface, the hydrofoil, and is also being used to control the wing and the flaps, effectively the engine, of what we have. The strengthable system that can harvest energy from human breathing and motion for use in wearable health monitoring devices may be possible, according to an international team of researchers. Mass extinctions of land-dwelling animals, including amphibians, reptiles, mammals, and birds follow a cycle of about 27 million years, coinciding with previously reported mass extinctions of ocean life, according to a new analysis. The Assembly also decided that, at that special session, it would adopt a concise and action-oriented political declaration, agreed upon in advance by consensus through intergovernmental negotiations under the auspices of the conference,